And here we go. A couple of minutes later, they have shifted already into the 114s. But super qualifier of the season so far hasn't made his session yet. Reifler, we are currently looking at his teammate who is in provisional pole, Hedgehog. Oh no, sorry, Reifler is not Alpha Tauri anymore. He used to be at the beginning of the season. Now he is Red Bull, and it seems he is the only one. So 20th and 3rd place is apparently not being taken by the Heats tonight. Once we look at Lewis, his teammate,
Perfect.
he accounted a local favorite, Max Duca. He doesn't live too far from San Marino and Imola, so he likes the track, he knows the region, and he's always been very, very strong, and that shows. It's only 3.5 tenths behind pole target. He the second guy under the 115 mark. Lewis is currently in the middle of the 115s, 115.6, that is currently bringing him to P10. Whilst the image of this qualifying at the moment resembles the one of Bahrain 2024 with the 2 Alpines towards the back, but we can be confident that it will not remain like this. Lewis narrowly misses the 115 or the 114 mark, getting to 115.0, which is P5. Not much traffic at the moment, with 5 minutes to go, but of course in 17 seconds the track will automatically get a little faster. Verstappen also has a good track record in Imola. He won 100% race in Imola in F1 2021. I finished 3rd on that day. And here is the qualifying specials. That sounds like rocket rear tires. They must have brake balance close to 50-50, or the sound is misleading. Next strong braking phase coming up. Let's hear closely again. So far all good, but there is something he doesn't like. It's invalidated. Well, apparently the track limits of Imola are more than a match for the qualifying specialist. Does he have enough fuel to have another go? Seems to be the case. Not the full battery, 67%, but better than nothing. And on we go. Traguardo, start finish, come towards Tamborello chicane, added in 1995, not changed since. Going on to the Villeneuve chicane, also added in 1995, stayed the same ever since. Ooh, quite a tap slapper, but avoid the invalidation. Posa hairpin bend, stayed the same all 4 years. Same can be said for the upcoming left-hander of Piratella. Whereas upcoming rally has seen 3 versions. This one here, which also was the original version, but there was a chicane in the 1980s there. Variante Alta was always there when they were racing, but they had a different layout for the 80s, and again we have invalidation. As I was saying, the layout of the Variante Alta was only changed in 2006 to this very, very slow configuration that we have now. And frankly, up to this day, I haven't met a single person who has truly understood why Variante Alta was changed after 2005. Anyway, neither the old layout nor the new layout is very good for overtaking in Variante Alta. I thought maybe they wanted to slow it down in order to improve overtaking possibilities there, but it didn't work. It's just the constellation up there is just wrong. You can't overtake here at this point to Variante Alpha if the other one doesn't have stop. So 2 minutes to go. First 4 remain the same. The current pole sitter is in the pit. Obviously not because of connection issues, but if you want to do another lap, you would have to go out very soon. We have a lot of out laps in the top 8. Rifler also might be in time trouble if he doesn't make it out soon. I see the dot moving. And 1 minute 21, that might just be about enough. It have to be a fast out lap, no mistakes. And the first of the top 8 to set another lap time is Lewis, who we are with. He's trying to get into 1:14. Looking at his personal qualifying record, that could be possible. The question is how far does he get into the 1:14s? Piratella taking very tight, that is good because it reduces the risk of invalidation at the corner exit. Beautiful Aqua Mineral, now notorious Variante Alta. And the track remains black, which means he has not invalidated. Which cannot be said for Hector. Hector remains with 1:14.5 and Lewis gets the lap. Verstappen has ended the session. Lewis jumps to P2. He jumps well into the 14s. 30 match. His last effort. Hector is invalidated. We don't need him at the moment. This session is done. 30 match. Was the early pole sitter. Will he make the jump in the end? We will find out soon enough. The lap is valid. And how fast is it? It's P3. 200ths ahead of Max Duca. Do we see the dot of Max Duca? Yes, he is exiting the last corner. His lap is valid. And he takes P3 back with exactly the same time as his teammate. Wow. But of course, as you know, Formula 1 as a summer sport, the one who sets the time first keeps the place. Most famously displayed in RS 1997, whereas in skiing, of course, it's different because there the one who goes later has the worst slope, and therefore the one who does lap time at the same time later gets named above and standing. Jumbo makes it an Alfa Romeo row 2 because he occupies the second part of row 1. And we are looking at the top 10 within 1 second and the 11th place just 7 thousandths behind. And the master qualifier has ended his qualifying in last place. The track limits of Imola apparently being tested to the maximum by Reiser. Or maybe he has a plan for a last to first challenge. Everything is possible, particularly in that car. We know that from reality well enough. Season 2 champion finds himself also in the mix. He was qualifying on P6. And that's how it is. I would honestly say that everyone out of the top 8 has a good chance of bringing it home, and let's see how far Reisler gets up the grid. Due to the absence of the league owner and usual league host Rickard, today it is Lucas that is hosting the race. But as the settings have been well known, I think there should be no technical issues. So, as usual, we are looking at the start without formation lap, but with weather tension. I would be surprised if it was all dry, because there was a cloud visible. And there was also raindrops.
That looks cloudy.
It does indeed. I would have to take a look into the YouTube of Milan to see whether what exactly was the race weather. So there are about 20 seconds to go, and oh no, the rain has gone. It looks only cloudy but not wet anymore. So whoever gambled on rain is probably going to be disappointed. So, but anyway, since the rain has mostly an effect on the wings, you can lower them, and there we go. Hatchet and Jumbo in the first row, twice medium tires, and the iconic pictures of the Imola starts. Always good, the two Alfa Romeos in the mix. And Lewis makes it, and Jumbo has a problem. Was he tagged by 13 Edge? Most likely, because they are both at the end of the field. Now we have Hatchet leading ahead of the two Alfa Romeos. We have a Ferrari spinning, that is the former streamer. Yes, she's currently regaining position. I will deactivate the things on my mobile so that I have more capacity for this connection here. Hatchet continues to lead. Max Duca is already having to struggle to stay in DRS of his teammate. And Reifler has made shocking 8 places in the first lap, and he is on medium tires. That is probably the best choice because of the cloudy conditions. And he uses his 80% of battery to get past Slayer on the ramp Tamburello in the second lap. Slayer has a slide, almost collected by Danny. Matsuka is back in the DRS window of his teammate. Verstappen in the DRS window of Matsuka, and Pankat is on the risk of not having DRS temporarily. Jumbo is already starting to climb up the ladder again. Aylor has been passed. Here we see Danny, the only starter on soft tires, but already seeming to struggle. Yes, we can hear from the shifting also from Don Bosco that Variante Alta is quite a challenge to drive through, let alone drive through with others in a race. And the driver has completed 10 passes. So then, first flying lap. So far, fastest one to Max Duca. Home hero in northern Italy. And that seems to stay the case. Reifler was not faster than Max Duca, but of course he has traffic. And now Lewis is in the danger of losing DRS from Hatchet. Hatchet having a very strong pace at the beginning. We have no safety car at the beginning of the race. We did have incidents, but no safety car. That is beautiful. Here is the teammate of the leader, Aylor, currently in P17. And now Lewis will have to get his act together in Variante Alta if he wants to close the DRS gap, but he seems to have made a mistake. It's up to 1.4. That of course then opens the possibility for a switch between the two Alfa Romeos. We have Lizard somehow invisible. Does that mean connection problems? At the fastest lap, Matsuka not yet passing his teammate. Verstappen hanging on. And Pankadlek has also lost the DRS. Taylor passing Chumbo. We don't know, of course, if Chumbo has any damage from the first lap. We hope not. And still, Lizard is invisible. That might indicate a connection problem. Sam has lost control out of Villeneuve chicane. He is in good company with that. Very famously in 2020, Alexander Albon did that. And he was not the only one. David Coulthard did in 1995. Others all over the years. It's a tough one. Because it's not a classic chicane, you know, it's not the chicane where you brake and then steer and then accelerate. You have to brake and steer at the same time, and that always is very, very challenging. Now here we have a DRS train. And
it's raining, yeah.
We have also rain. But will it be enough? Certainly I wouldn't want to be on the hard tires now. That is potentially disadvantageous as the Alpine time route of cruising. So whoever started on the mediums is probably on the right ones. Because the track looks far too dry to make a switch on intermediates already logical. But we don't always have to be logical, sometimes it's also good to take a risk. Sam will play the guinea pig for the rest. And Hedgett has lost quite a substantial part of his lead. Is it getting really wet? Well, it certainly appears to be challenging. We have slides, we have spins, we have running wides. What more could you wish for? Now, let's look at Sam. He is not normally the fastest. Oh, here we have Chumbo looking in the wrong direction again. This time he might have been overtwisted. And he is currently holding the gap towards former streamer. And we have spray. We do have spray. And we have a spin. Hedgett loses the lead in duel with Lewis. Let's hope he rejoins safely. And we have water. Now it's only a matter of time until we see DRS disabled and until we see a lot of intermediate runners. Yes, indeed we do. Roscoe being the leader of intermediate runners at this very moment. There is DRS disabled. Now that is a surprise. But of course, that means that the weather prediction was set not too perfect, but to more or less accurate. So, this is indeed a challenge. We have the lead 7 out on dry tires yet. We have 6 of 32 laps gone. Which of course then opens up more tactical possibilities, because if you have the intermediate on at any point, you can use the same compound of dry tires, and it looked as if it would dry out towards the end. But at this moment, dry conditions are nowhere to be seen. So, Reifler is already on the intermediate path, whereas Lizard is not. That means it can't be AI. And we have the 2 alphas in. That means a double stack, which is disadvantageous for Max Duca. Yes, here is the visual proof. And the question is, the pit lane exit is eternal. Will they still be out in the lead? Still exiting. And he just manages to stay in the lead, but probably Max Duca will fall into the pack. Oh yes, indeed. So this has been a very expensive double stack. And track limit showed in qualifying, they do show in the race. 2 of the first 4 already have time penalties, including our quali master Reifler. Well, he definitely does not yet have feelings for these track limits here, but that shouldn't stop him trying to pass other people. At the moment, Plazo is ahead of him, whereas the former streamer is currently falling further and further back, as he stayed out on dry tires. Well, the rest of the field certainly has not. 13 edge taking an unusual spot, we could call it Russell spot, to get past Danny, it was, but it worked. Reifler taking a leaf out of Bottas' 2020 book. Bottas ran wide twice there, but he had a bit of a front wing of Seb Vettel under him. 13 Matt Pryor at it. And DRS has been disabled, so it only matters how good you come out of the last corner, and Max Duca having fallen back to P8, the result is that head down to P13. Oh. That was not a very nice maneuver from Danny. Has he taken out headset by that? Well, I think that might be a report. 13 edges past Danny and has had to let him pass again. Was that the game intervening, or did he have a slide? Well, anyway, the race is back on, and ARL and 13 edge are both attacking Danny, who seems to have damage, no wonder, after that collision in turn 1, and 13 edge does it again at this place, and now all the maneuvers should be clean. There is an Alpine ahead of him, Matt Pryor, and we have a little bit of a field spread. We have a group of about 7 to 8 in the front. Now the former streamer has actually gone to full wedge. That is an interesting choice. They might tendency overheat. But who knows, maybe it was the golden choice. Although looking at the time sheets, I think he's already lapped. So then, situation is as it was before. We have a lead group with 2 persons with penalties. ARL and Danny still on it. 13 edge has gone ahead. Slow dropping back. Max Duca collecting the next penalty. Oh, that makes it more difficult for him. He is currently stuck behind Lucas. And the next penalty is already in the house. It's Vlasov. So at this moment, Rizin would move up 3 positions without having to do anything, but who knows if he doesn't get a penalty by the end of the race. The problem is, if you already got 3 seconds by lap 10 of 32, there might be some more at the end of the race. So then, Danny has found his foot in the rain. Was not quite sure whether ARL avoided touching him and braking for Rivazza. Let's hope so. Yes. Well, maybe yes, maybe no, because Jumbo has now come in between ARL and Danny. And second Ferrari is still losing ground to a penultimate place position, so maybe the full wet tires were a gamble too far. Now Lewis is making up ground on the others. Before it was a gap of a bit more than 1 second, now it's almost free. We have a yellow flag at Cosa, which has gone out again. We're not quite clear who was dropping back. We have another yellow in the first corner. That is Lizard, probably, yes. There we go. Reifler is still stuck in P4. He seems to be faster than the other two. And we have the next guy for the penalties. It's Gunning. And we have Hatchet with another spin. He certainly must have a dry setup. Well, who can blame him? If you looked at the conditions before the race, it looked fully dry. He does not have a penalty yet, but he definitely will need a safety car later on. Now Danny and Jumbo are on it, Ferrari and Williams. Well, that duel used to be a good one in Imola. For example, in 1997, when Schumacher chased down Hans-Harald Frentzen during that one's first win. Or in 1996, when Schumacher chased Coulthard in the first part of the race, and then later Hill in the second part of the race. Also 1995, so a double Ferrari podium, same as 1998. And here we see a little bit of wheel banging. Vlasov getting rid of Bosco, and by that helping Reifler to secure P2. Also the lead of Senna, of Lewis, has shrunk from 3 to 2 seconds. Matuka recovering from the shock of the penalty. Also getting past Bosco, at least temporarily, then losing in the first chicane, where in the motorcycles Alvaro Bautista came to fall in the second corner of the second main race in 2023. This one here, exactly. Bertinec also still on a recovery mission, but he has to recover from two things. First the start and then the weather. His teammate is currently on P5, but on course for potential P3. Headset seems to have another spin on the first few corners. A-Lord is out, and we do have a safety car. So it was not Headset, it was A-Lord that lost it in the exit of Tamburello. Well, it looks to be too strong to make a gamble. The only realistic gamble at this moment would be, if the rain continues to fall, gamble indeed on heavy wets. Let's see what Lewis has in mind. We have a lot of penalties already. Matsuka stays out on his Inters and is taking over currently the lead. Senna changes from Inters to Inters. That appears unnecessary, but maybe he knows something we don't. Amazing how the Inters can already have 6 laps. That felt like a lot less. So we have 2 gamblers on heavyweights, Brizing and Verstappen. They have been just joined by Jumbo, Lizard as well, And Castle as well, but Castle is one lap down. I don't think he's gonna be able to recover it. I think it was not correctly placed. The safety car has already found Max Duca, but the rest of the field is spread almost amongst the entire lap. So this will be a long safety car, at least 3 laps. It started in lap 12. We have an Aston Martin just ahead of the safety car. That is Lizard. He might just be able to get the lap back. The fastest lap of Hatchet is not under any threat at the moment because it was set in dry conditions. Now Imola, despite of all its chicanes and its heavy wear on brakes, is not one of these tracks where you can overtake very well. It has been changed a bit. The configuration of the track until 2006 had also a final chicane. That one was removed after the rebuild in 2007-2008. The motorcycles use a final chicane that goes out of the Formula 1 line and goes a little left-right in about the middle. But Formula 1, ever since the return in 2020, has used this start and finish, a long straight slash banana. Well, it's kind of double banana because it starts turning to the right and then goes on turning to the left, whilst more and more people decide for heavy wets. Well, the past would not indicate that this is a very good gamble, but the past is not the present, so let's see. Of course, Max Duca has secured himself track position, which might be vital because of the spray. Now, I was saying, in Imola it is very difficult to overtake. Right now with DRS and with long start-finish straight it is possible if you don't have too much wing difference. Remember, unhappy Lewis Hamilton in 2022, he couldn't. Speaking of 2022, this race at the moment does have certain similarities with 2022. 2022 also started in the wet, the main race, but ended in the dry. 2021, of course, was the same. Started in the wet and went on to finish in the dry. The same can be said for 1995 or 1993 in the old configuration. But the race in Imola that started dry became wet and ended dry. I'm not sure Formula 1 reality has seen that. Oh, we have more pickers. Max Duca is in. Why is that? It seems to be a very odd time for a pit. Is it raining so hard? Well, he seems to have seen it a good idea to change onto the heavy wets, but this pit stop seems to be very, very long. Well, of course, there is a certain risk that the intermediate tires might become too cold if the rain is too heavy. And still, we have 3 cars far, far away from the safety car. So, track position was given up, and now we still have 2 different gambles at the front. Lewis changed from inters to inters, whereas Brisson changed from inters to full wets in the same lap. Danny is out of his old inters. Yep, interesting stuff. I did have one of these races, but let's get back to Imola again. Imola was never a track where it was very easy to pass, neither in the wet nor in the dry, because although it is very difficult on brakes, it just is not very wide, and the chicanes are all usually too fast, so the braking is hard, but the corners are just a little bit too fast. So you don't have really the classic hairpins, and the only classic hairpin that you have, which is Tosa, has only a very, very small straight ahead of it now, because of placing of the Villeneuve chicane. So that's why we had these famous finishes in 2005 and 6, but we're still far away from the finish. We are in fact at a restart. Now Brisson is using all his battery. No, that was Matt Pryor. Oh, we have Brisson going through the gravel. Lewis keeps the lead. Verstappen takes over P2 because Brisson was in the gravel. And now we will see which tire is faster. Lewis and Verstappen had comparable speed before the safety car. And now. Something boring, as they said in the 80s. Field still reasonably together with the exception of the last three. And Verstappen definitely is as fast, if not faster, than Lewis. But of course, Max Luca has a slide enough from Mineral, but it's in the right direction. So this is treacherous. Now Petter trying to get past Slayer and managing so. You can clearly hear no more traction control. Rivazza becomes even more difficult. Lucas again Jumbo. And Verstappen has not yet passed, he remains in half a second. Whilst Lucas comes to the result that intermediates are the wrong choice. That is a bad timing, because pit stops in Imola are eternal. The pit lane is so long. Let's passing Danny. And Slayer doing the same. Now Brisson is starting to pressure Verstappen. Let's see if he does a Prost on Senna 1993. No. Prost managed to accelerate Senna out of Corsa, but not this time. Reifler gaining again. But he's got a lot of work to do and he has got penalties. Still, that doesn't stop him attacking a Ferrari, and we have the McLaren of 30, that's just ahead. Desperate stuff, spectacular. Driver passes ahead of Variante Alta, stays in the track limits. No, at least. Well, whether he got the warning or not, that depends on whether he was accelerating out of the chicane or not. Here we have Slayer and Max Duca, and Cadillac has had a pirouette in Rivazza, and Brisson is onto Verstappen, who is onto Senna, and we have another safety car, but why? Well, we know that Sam has lost his front wing, but a lost front wing is not usually cause enough for a safety car. Or maybe it is. Well, nobody is afraid, except Taylor, who had triggered the first safety car. Another chance for the field to unite. Former streamer has entered the pits a bit too fast. And is the first to change back on intermediate tires. And Cadillac has not read the Delta right, or was surprised by the Delta. Lewis and Verstappen look safe at the moment. And yes, Pan Cadillac seems to have been able to collect 2 drive-throughs within a half a lap. That is not the kind of achievement you're usually looking for. And where is the safety car? We don't see it yet. Ah, it's waiting at the end of the start straight. And now, this might be the golden moment for Lewis and Bosco, particularly for Lewis. Reisler is in. But what does he do? I don't see anything. Ah, he stays on full wets, but takes on new ones. Not costing him much track position. Well, the laps have a tendency to go by very fast here. Seems only 1 minute until everybody had, or many people had, new full wets, and now those are 4, 5, 6 laps old. Now the rain has stayed for quite some time in this race. Oh, and the former streamer is also out. Now why was that? Did he crash into the pit lane? Or did he retire? Seems as if he retired because his spot is still going on. Sem has also retired. That seems to have happened in the first chicane. Yes, there his dot has gone. Will probably be joined very soon by the former streamer spot. Dot. What does that mean for the rest of the field? The rest of the field is not yet fully united, but as we saw in the last safety car, that doesn't stop the game from relaunching the race. At this moment it's still a little early. We have one more safety car lap to go. Now, if we try to remember how were the standings looking ahead of this race, the biggest duels were on the constructor's side. We had Aston Martin and Alfa Romeo close by, and as it stands at the moment, probably it would look good for Alfa Romeo to pass Aston Martin, but it's a long, long way still to go. Pan Cadillac is back in the pit. Just change back from intermediate to full wet. We will see. No, it changes from inters to inter, so they were only 1 lap old. Okay, why not? 1 lap of tire age can still be an advantage in these conditions, maybe because of the temperature. We will maybe never know.
I think he's trying to get rid of the drive-through, but he can't do that under safety car conditions. That's how he pit it twice in a row.
Oh yes, well that would be a faulty interpretation of the rules. Drive-throughs cannot be served behind the safety cars, whereas the 5 seconds could. Of course, the longer the safety car goes on, the better it looks for Lewis's tire gamble, because I think unless the prediction was entirely wrong and we end up with conditions like in Adelaide in 1989 or 1991, the track is bound to be less wet at one point, and then the intermediate should be the better choice. Now Lizard is clearly not driven by artificial intelligence, because they would not move like this. So it's good to know that actually the man behind the name is on the wheel. We are probably looking at the last safety car lap. Blizzard and Pancadlet are going to catch up the field. And then it's go for 11 laps in the wet. At the moment, of course, we would have Matt Pryor on the podium because of the penalties for his teammate Chrisin and Bosco. All those penalties are not up for debate because they are +3 or +6. The only penalty that might be up for debate is Pancadlet's second drive-through within 1 lap, but that will hardly have too many implications on the final results. But never say never, there might still be space for another safety car after Pancadlet has made his drive-through penalty. So, Alfa Romeo, from McLaren, from Alpine, going into the last 11 race laps at this very moment. Raguardo. And the McLaren of Verstappen looks more attacking than in the last start. Still keeps back a little bit. Racing not overshooting this time, but Matt Pryor making past Bosco has a huge slide in Tamburello, costing him also places to Vlas and Chumbo. Max Duca dropping back. What happened to him? Hedgehog, Ferdinand and Slayer have passed him. There he is. His car seems to be intact. Left with the full wet tires. Difference at the very front between the full wet and the intermediates seems to be negligible. Hedgehog is back into the points. He and Ferdinand have no penalties at the moment, whereas 5 people within the points currently do have penalties. That includes Bosco, Slayer, Lazo, Grissom, and it did include Max Duca, who is steadily switching positions with Lucas. 13 edge, 3 wide, Rifler also winning it. And all that in wet conditions, that might end in even more tears. And at the front, Verstappen is ever close. I think this is getting time. Yes, 210, 110. Let's see how this goes out. Ooh, he's very bad. What? What? What was that from Lewis? Well, whatever it was, put him back to P5 and Verstappen took the curb and he has run into P2, which at the moment seems to make the way for Brisson, and Verstappen has collected a penalty within the process.
I think they both braked way too late because they were trying to fight for the lead. So they both went off because they both braked too late.
That appears to be a good explanation of what we witnessed, yes. And now we have Matt Pryor in Pryor prime position. But it's very early still, 9.5 laps to go. A lot of water on the track. And still we have no significant difference between the full wet and the intermediate. Max Duca and Hedgehog getting close and personal in Variante Alta, Reitler as well. And Cadillac has served one of his drive-through penalties, which is why he is distant from the rest of the field. And here we have Lucas going into Hedgehog. Hedgehog not having his luckiest race of the year, that's for sure. He's already been rammed twice today. He must feel victimized. And we have penalties all over the field. These track limits are not only a challenge to Reifler, that's for sure. Whoa, and we have another slide, this time from Slayer. They're hardly giving us a briefer. And Matt Pryor is keeping Verstappen with inside, but Prison is starting to check out. Now we have a slide from Lizard, who is being passed by Lucas. So, never say never in F1. Before the end of qualifying, it looked as if the two Alpines might be towards the back. Now they are both on the podium. And they would both stay on the podium at the very moment, because Vlasov also has penalty. Jumbo has stayed clean in all of that. Now will he find the speed to maximize his clean driving in the last 9 laps, or 8 laps in the bit? Lucas is also another one without penalties yet, but with a 3 second gap to fill to the next guy. Hedgett starting another climb up the field, now at the expense of Dannings. His car seems to still be intact, which is quite a miracle by itself, but he is now joining the club of the people who collect warnings. Oh, Verstappen running wide is at the chance for a double lead for Alpine. It's not only the chance, it is it. And Jumbo, being good old Piranha, taking P3 from Verstappen. But Verstappen trying to take Jumbo back. But Jumbo didn't see him. No, just cutting. Of course, Corsa is one of the most quoted scenes in recent F1 history. It was in the V10 era in 2004. Jenson Button had the pole, Michael Schumacher was in P2, and Juan Pablo Montoya was unable to pass Schumacher for reasons that everybody likes to interpret their own way in the Corsa hairpin bend. Now, Corsa has been a long way past, but Verstappen is dropping back. He's now in 6 in the road. We have a double lead for Alpine, and at the moment the positions would stay as they are because the difference is growing. It's already 4 seconds, and Prison has a penalty of only 3 of them, and Jumbo is looking for his first podium of the season. The longer the better. Vlasov is not exactly at his tail, but the Reifler is on the tail of Vlasov, and we're looking at that. And he stays there at the time. But we have another spin at the front Jumbo. Now it's only a half spin, but it's enough to go from 23 to P6. Mamma mia ragazzi, this is an entertaining race. Well, as we say in German, Regen bringt Segen. Rain can bring the blessing. Now, what happened to the former leader, Juan Senna? He is now in P7. He also has penalties, like his teammate Max Duca, who just had a 13F. We're looking at those two in the frame. Now we look back at Reifler, who is currently in P3, with 6 seconds of penalties, and chasing Matt Pryor, who is still no penalties. But if he continues like that, that might not last very long. Well, what did last very long was his P2 on track, but it would still be P2 in the standings at this very moment, but for that he would have to stay in front of Vlasov, which he does not. Van Cadlec retires and sets up a 3-lap finish. Wow, that brings Matt Pryor back into the game. Out of which Max Duca is taking himself with a spin in Rivazza Uno. That reminds me of Mansell and the Cesaris in 1990, but that was a lapping maneuver. We have Peters again, probably for inters. And Cadillac will not need to dispute any of his drive rules because his result will be 0 points in any case. And yes, we have people changing back to inters, but also people staying on full wets. It is still gamble time. Lucas has moved up to P6, which might well become a podium if the field spread isn't too big in the last 3 laps.
A couple of observations. I think before the safety car, Matt Pryor was intentionally going slow to try to create a gap for his teammate Brizan so that Alpine can have a chance at 1-2. But now the safety car has ruined everything. And also, I think 13 Edge has a really, really good chance at winning this race, depending on how many laps there are remaining after the safety car.
Interesting. Yes, well, it all depends on the track conditions, of course. He is the leader on the new intermediates, and he does not have any penalties yet, which is a rarity in this field. There are only 4 persons that have no penalties. So realistically, we're looking at the 3-lap dash towards the end. And in 3 laps, a lot can happen. Now, could there have been team tactics at Alpine? It is possible, but at the same time, Matt Pryor is a competitor like everyone else, so I guess his main interest would have been to have his teammate at maximum 2.999 seconds ahead of him, which he didn't do. But he could still have tried, of course. We don't know. Maybe he had some pace in hand. All of that is now, as the famous Murray Walker would have said, academic, or of academic interest.
So 13 Edge has 2 warnings. So 1 warning, 1 penalty. I think, yeah, safety car in this lap. Matt Pryor only has 1 warning. So he is the cleanest so far.
Well, he'll be able to take good advantage of that, and we don't have a 3-lap dash towards the end, but a 4-lap dash towards the end. That, of course, increases the tension even more and might bring back the safety car for 1 lap if something extraordinary happens. The usual game programming has stayed the same. No safety car in the last 2 laps. And on we go. Ooh, oi. A lot of slides there. Jumbo out of the running for the lead.
There is a safety car. There is a safety car.
Well, there we go.
Wait, is that actually safety? I don't think it's safety car. No, it's not safety car. I think we're still racing. Yes, we're still racing.
Well, the game doesn't know what it wants. Not the first, not the last time for that to happen. But yeah, Jumbo has taken himself out of the equation. Very sadly, I would have liked to see him on the podium, but it is not yet to happen. Ooh. And that is Verstappen being sent into the green. Passed by his teammate. Matt Pryor still looking good. 3.5 laps to go. But Matt Pryor under pressure from Vlasov and high pressure, less than 2/10. Ooh. There is Lewis now behind Vlasov. Oh, that is... Well, that is unfortunate. Now, 13 Edge is also amongst the penalized ones. As you pointed out, he was at risk. The risk is one too far, and he's also dropping back. Ooh, mamma mia. That is a dramatic race. And now Matt Pryor, the fastest of the not penalized ones, does not seem to be in contention. We have two more. Oh, Verstappen is spinning like a top together with Max Duca, it seems. Now, is this the moment of truth for Reifler? Well, he would need to find 3 seconds in 2.5 laps if he made it past Brizin. That does not appear too likely at this moment. Matt Pryor's podium chances are still intact, but he cannot lose anymore. Lewis. But how has he come to P3 and all of that? Well, yes, no, it's alright, he was there. Hardly gives us a breather this race. So at the end of the 30th, the first 2 laps, Lewis is attacking Reifler. He doesn't necessarily need to do that, but of course he wants to win. So of course he does need to do that if he thinks about Brizin, not if he thinks about Reifler. So we start lap 31, the last lap at 1. Another attack from Lewis on Reifler. Another failed attack. That makes it all look better for Brizin. Now we have Bosco getting past Danny. Matt Pryor still in P5. So at this moment it is still hard to say how it is going to end, but since Vlasov has quite the gap towards P3, it's unlikely that Matt Pryor is gonna end up the winner. Senna is still pushing for all his worth on Reifler, which of course prevents Reifler from taking the lead from Brizin. And we have another penalty for Danny, which leaves only Lucas and Matt Pryor without penalties. Reifler running wide in Variante Alta. Lewis trying again and finally getting past. So we have 1 second between Luis and Brizin for the last lap. Hector is back in the points, close to P4. And we have started the very, very last lap. A very wet last lap. Hedged passing Vlasov and Senna closing in on Brizin. So we'll have a good duel for the lead and the winning last lap. No DRS, just driving. And there he is. Variante Villeneuve, and he... Wow! I have never seen that before. A maneuver around the outside of the Villeneuve chicane. That is spectacular and potentially win deserving. And Lucas has joined the club of penalized drivers, leaving only Matt Pryor as the only unpenalized one. Now, of course, we also don't know whether Lewis or Brizin are going to collect more penalties in the last lap. We hope not. There are not many corners left, but it does look as if Alfa Romeo is going to take over the second position in the constructor standings with 1 round to go. Yes, he's pulling away. 1 second ahead with 2 corners to go. That was an impressive final spurt from Lewis, also known as F1 Senna, and there he comes with almost 2 seconds in hand. And what has happened to Reifler? No, how is that possible? He loses all the positions just ahead of the finish line. Oh no, just behind. No, the flag was already waved. So Surprise, surprise, Matt Pryor is not on the podium. But there are Lewis, Brisin and Hedgehog. Who would have thought that with 5 laps to go? Not me. 13H also retired on the last lap. Jumbo has not retired, but might do so after the finish line, yes. Does his best to do a little pirouette over the finish line. Very unfortunate race for him. He pinged it out of Rivazza, and it was not quite a last to first challenge for Reifler, it was a last to P6 challenge, but a memorable one anyway. Whew. Now this is one to remember. So, Hedgehog has stayed with the fastest lap from the dry first laps. So, we have Lewis, Brisin, Hedgehog, Vlasov, Matt Pryor, Reifler, Bosco, Lucas, Slayer and Verstappen in the points. Danny, Max Duca, Lizard, Jumbo and 13H out of it, and Pancadlex, Sem, Castle and A-Lord not amongst the finishers. Bene, mille grazie, fue un piacere. Una gara strepitosa della Liga ARL nella regione di Emilia Romagna, Italia, bla 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 bla, Gran Premio di San Marino Imola, you know, it's the longest name in history of any race. Probably a title sponsor in there somewhere as well. And yeah, we can firmly summarize that the people did underestimate the track limits of Imola. Well, thanks for providing the images, and the upload will begin shortly. Good night, buonanotte, hasta la prossima semana in Portimao.